Okay, so we're now live and welcome back to my channel. It's Rene Marcus. Thank you so very much for tuning in. And if you're new to my channel, please do me that favor and subscribe. So today we have Halat TV on my channel. So I'm going to let him introduce himself and just tell us a bit more about himself so that we get to know him. His link is in the description box. He's also a YouTuber, so please go ahead and subscribe. Yes, so I'll hand it over to you if you can introduce yourself, please.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for having me on your channel. My name is Lamarana. I am a young Gambian currently residing in the US. I see myself as a content creator on YouTube. And this is what I'm doing. And at the same time, also going to school here. This is my final semester for my bachelor's.
Perfect, nice. So you did, I think it was 2 days ago, correct me if I'm wrong, you uploaded a video which the title was, where is it? I wrote it somewhere.
Yes, I said, who is benefiting from the Gambia?
Who is benefiting from Gambia, exactly. And which is a very, very catchy title. So I watched it and I've got some of my subscribers who sent me an email with that video as well, saying that I need to watch this because you had some information going on there. And those are the things that we need to look into, because I believe that us as Gambians, we are the best people to talk about our issues in our country, and only Gambians can actually bring change in Gambia. So if we can't do it, then I don't think anyone else can do it for us. So that's why I'm inviting you today to basically discuss more about those issues that you actually highlighted on that video, because you did mention about the government, fishery, land issues, and also that citizens in the country are frustrated. So if you can just talk about a bit more about the government side first. Why did you think that the government have a big role in solving out the issues in the Gambia?
Thank you very much, Rene, for asking me that very important question. We have to understand that in 2016, the Gambia went through a very tough time. We had a political turbulence, and we voted to take a dictatorship out of our country. We succeeded. When we brought in this particular government, which is the Adama Barrow's government, Gambians had a very high expectation. We were hoping that this government will bring about change in our country. But what we have seen in the past 3, almost 4 years, is basically very disappointing. Nothing is basically happening in our country. This government should have been a transitional government to bring about changes, reforms in the system, economic reforms, institutional reforms, security sector reform. But all of those things are not taking place. And the situation, the livelihood of the Gambians is not getting better, it's getting worse. And we have all seen recently with this COVID-19 how our government handled the issue. And the same thing is continuing. There is basically no hope for the young people in our country. So I feel as a young person, it is my responsibility to talk about things that are going on wrong in my country, because I don't expect somebody to come from outside to talk to us about our problems, because we know exactly what is wrong in our country. So the government has a role to play to make sure that every Gambian is, entitled to what they're supposed to have. We need economic independence in the Gambia. We need jobs for our youths. We need better hospitals. We need a very good educational system. We need investment, and all of these things are lacking. At the moment, this particular government is very busy doing politics. The government is trying to entrench themselves for the coming elections. Basically, the initiative of this particular transaction has been hijacked because none of the reforms that were supposed to take place has ever taken place so far. So I think this is where we are, and it is very important for Gambians to understand this is the situation in our country. And if we want something better for ourselves, we have to make sure we hold the government responsible as citizens.
That's correct. I agree with you. And you did mention something to do with economic independence. What do you exactly mean?
Basically, what I meant here is the youths in the Gambia need jobs. How can the government help create jobs for our youths? Because there are two ways of doing this. The government can directly hire people, or they can create the conducive environment wherein the youths can be involved in entrepreneurship to be able to create jobs for themselves. And we've seen that the government is the major employer in the Gambia, and the government cannot employ everybody. Literally every year, we have thousands of people graduating from our school system, and then they have nowhere to go. And this is one of the reasons why we have this backway syndrome. A lot of Gambians are leaving the Gambia, taking risky journeys through the Mediterranean Sea. And we've seen what had happened in the few past years. Many Gambians lost their life. And even wherein they succeed, going to Europe is not easy. They are
It doesn't
usually,
even mean that you will make it if you go to Europe.
yeah, so
But
one,
yeah, but I think that's just the mentality of us, the Africans. I'm not just going to say Gambians, because I think it's what they see
absolutely,
Gambians are doing, or should I just say the diaspora. So they believe that, or when they move over from Gambia to Europe, they're going to have exactly the same. They just do not understand the hustle that we go through to actually make it, to return back home. And a lot of us in the Gambia, a lot of youth in the Gambia do have skills. They are very, very, very good at creating things, doing their own business. But the huge issue right now is the finance. And
absolutely.
I think that the government just believe that, oh, when the youths are actually there saying, oh, we need help from the government, we need help from the government then turns around and say, create the jobs for yourself, go and do something out there. But how can they do that if they're not getting the finance?
Mhm.
Because finance is the major thing.
Absolutely. I think at this moment we need a credit bank, a development bank in the Gambia wherein our youth can access these loans at very
That's what I was
low
actually about to
interest
say.
rates. Because once we have that, we can definitely encourage the youth to go and get these loans, invest in their own businesses, and this will help create more and more jobs in our country. Because we have to understand that
Exactly.
the local economy is the backbone of our economy. And if it is not strengthening, that means our country is in trouble. Because even in America, about 67% of the local economy is based on small jobs. So small jobs are very important. This SMEs are very important for the Gambia. And we have to make sure that we have that as much as possible. And the government has to invest in that.
That takes me to my next issue that I want to talk about, because the government is not ready to introduce any loan institution for our youths, because there can be, let's say, a plan set up to say, we can give you this amount of money, and then within a year or two, you can then start returning, basically paying back certain percentage to also help your company move in and also be able to pay your employees. But none of this is happening. I think the government misunderstood the fact that the youths are crying for help, because I think they believe that when the youths are saying, oh, the government is not helping, we need help, the government actually think that, oh, these youths want the money for free and not paying it back. So we really need to talk to our government regarding how they can actually help the youths with funds. And they have great ideas out there.
I mean,
Absolutely. Very
I
talented people.
yes, I don't mean to cut you, but let's look. I was a banker in the Gambia. I work at Trust Bank, the biggest bank. And when I was there, when people take loans from the bank, they were paying interest at the rate of 28%. That is insane. How do you expect somebody to take a loan with that high amount of interest rate to pay it back? Because basically you're telling them, take this money, go into business, and you're going to end up failing. But the reason for that was under the former regime, it was the government of the Gambia that was borrowing from the private banks. With this
We
new
all know
government,
that.
With this new government, that is not taking place. What the government can do, you come up with policies, invite all the bankers in the Gambia, tell them, look, this is what we want. We will be the guarantor as the government of the Gambia. When our youths come to you with a business proposal, they said they want to take loans. We want you to give them the loans that they need. And they can come up with a think tank, or they can come up with a system wherein youths who are interested in investing in the Gambia, Gambian youths, let them write their business proposals. It could go through Pura, or it could go through Gaipa. And if you come up with a very sound business plan and you qualify, then they can give you a document or a paper to tell you, look, go to this so and so bank. You requested for $100,000. If you want to do a poultry farming, go there, they will give you that. But what is happening is, if you go to the bank, they are asking you collaterals that you cannot even secure. So it doesn't make sense for you to
The
go there in the
reason,
first place.
just bear with me in that before I forget. The reason being, it's because these laws are actually set not for Gambians, but for the foreigners, because those people can afford everything that they put on the table for them. But the Gambians, the locals, can't afford that. So this is where the issue is. So you will see someone with a perfect plan, but when they go to the bank, they will just look at them like fools, because there's no way that they can actually meet the eligibility or the requirement to actually get a loan. So that's why you then see foreigners coming in our country, getting huge amounts of loans, doing whatever they want in the country, and nothing gets done about it. That's how I see it.
Because it all boils down to policies, because our local industries should be protected. It has to be Gambia first. And this doesn't mean that we don't want anyone else from outside coming into our country. But any responsible government that you go to, they look out for the interests of their citizens first. I live in the US here, and the United States does that. They make sure that the environment is conducive for US citizens to thrive.
Even in the UK, the same thing. Same thing.
And there is nothing wrong in doing that as a government.
Absolutely. That's what I believe. As a government, your people, you're basically there for your people, because you're the people are the reason why you're there today. So if you're going to set out laws, make sure that it favors your people before anyone else. And I don't care if people say this is selfish, but I stand for Gambia first before any other person. So which takes me then to my next thing that I wanted to talk about in regards to the fishery, because you did touch on that a little bit, and which I want us to elaborate on it. I do see a lot of comments about people saying, oh, how about the Chinese? How about the Chinese? How about the Chinese? Coming to West Africa, coming to Gambia, abusing the people, abusing the sea. We all know that. But it's not just the Chinese. Russia is coming. Europe is coming. China is coming. So it's not just Chinese that we have to focus on. And my problem is not with the Chinese, it's with my government. Because they're the one tolerating this nonsense. That's the reason why those people have the audacity to come to our country and disrespect us the way they are, abusing our resources the way they are. And this is the reason why people sit on social media and insult our government. Gambians do not deserve this. Absolutely. And I think it's only us that can make this change by start making noise now. That's how I see it.
Absolutely. With regards to the Chinese, we have to understand that when you look at international politics, I don't think there is anything like, free aid or grants, because we have to understand that, the hand that feeds you controls you. So our governments must make sure that they don't depend their entire operation on aid monies from the West or from the Chinese. Let's say in the case of the Gambia, we all know that International Conference Center, Sadauda Kairaba Jawara International Conference Center, was built 100% sponsored by the Chinese.
Chinese.
And then they spent 50 million US dollars, and they said it is a grant. But the reason why the Chinese are doing that is because they know if they sponsor such a huge project in the Gambia, if anytime they want something in our country, they can easily approach our government and then tell them exactly this is what we want.
It's bribery.
And then with that project, the Gambia opened up the doors for Chinese to come in. Not only their mission, the diplomatic mission, but they are bringing in all the Chinese citizens to enjoy the resources that we have in our country. And no one is saying Chinese people should not come there. But what we are saying, whatever is found within the Gambia, in our waters, beneath our soil, on our soil, within the Gambia itself, everything should be for the Gambians first. And in the case of the fisheries sector, why are we allowing the Chinese to buy out almost all our fish, any fish, seafood product caught in our waters, to be shipped to China at the detriment of our Gambian people?
I will tell you why, even though it makes no sense. This was said by our Ministry of Fisheries. I watched an interview just a couple of days ago. I think the interview was taken a year ago. But the reason why they are allowing these people to come to our country using our resources, especially the sea, they are saying that the fish is not harvest. They're seasonal. And it's not guaranteed that these people will actually catch any fish in the sea. And we don't have the facility or the equipment to actually go in the sea and do it for ourselves. So we need the money, we need the finance in order to do that. But we can't do that because we don't have the money. So that's why it's best to invite these people to come and do it. And they also said, because it's not guaranteed that anytime they go in the sea, they will catch fishes. They were the one that approached the Europeans and the Chinese, but the Chinese didn't. But I'm telling you that is a big lie, because we don't have the technology to actually know exactly how valuable the sea is. We don't. And I think that's why they are abusing this. And the thing is, it's really hard to say, but I'm not going to say the people, because I stand for my people, but I would say the government, they are very selfish.
Absolutely.
They go for their interest and for their pocket, because they sign a contract with Europe for per ton, for a fish per ton for 436 euro. But the Europeans, when they get those fish and ship it to their country, they're actually selling it out per ton 1,306 or 1,360, something like that, over 1,000 per ton.
You're right, because what we are experiencing in our country is very pathetic. I'll still come back, to the Chinese people. We have to understand our economic exclusive zone is 100% for Gambia. And today, or a few days ago, I watched on social media, Gambians were complaining that they can hardly afford to buy fish. There is scarcity of fish in the Gambia. And I was wondering, I said, how did we get to that point? But there are two reasons for that. The first reason is our fisheries sector, 70% of all the fishermen in the Gambia are not Gambians. They are Senegalese. That is a number one problem. Usually around Tobaski in the Gambia, when all the Senegalese fishermen decide to go to their families for the Muslim feast, yes, usually we have problem in the Gambia. There's always shortage of fish. What is the government doing to solve that problem for us? Because the government should invest in fisheries. They should encourage our Gambians to take part in fishing. There are two ways of doing this. First, give these youths loans to buy the fishing material that they need. We need fishing boats, we need fishing trawlers.
They can't do that, because if they give out loans, their pockets will be empty.
Absolutely.
That's how they will be seeing it. So they will not do that.
Because if you help one Gambian, you are helping the entire country.
Because employment, that's how it starts.
Absolutely. And the second point is you have to, help these people build their capacity. How do you do that? Let's have more workshops wherein we train our fishermen about international standards of fishing in this particular day and age. Because once we do that, we won't go through what we are going through at the moment. We will not have shortages of fish or so. I know for the Senegalese, when they catch the fish, they bring it on shore, they sell it to the Gambians. But what the Chinese are doing, when they buy this fish, they process it in the Gambia, they ship everything to China. And today we know that 95% of all Gambian households depend on seafood for their daily survival. So you allowing the Chinese to control our fisheries sector basically means you are denying Gambians their livelihood, which is not good at all. That is even detrimental to our security as a country, because if a country cannot feed his or her people, then there is bound to be problems in the future.
Absolutely. And the other thing that pains me the most is that the fact that they are using this as an excuse, because when I watched the interview, per ton for fish, it's 130 euro that they're selling, 136 euros.
Wow.
But when these people take it to their country, they're selling it for 1,290 per ton.
That is almost 1,000 persons.
They are making so much money. And then the government turned around and said, well, it's because they're buying their own equipment. They're risking their lives. And it's not guaranteed that they will actually catch fish. They don't know how expensive tuna is. Just tuna. One tuna can cost you a fortune. They don't know that. So why can't the government buy all this equipment and give it to our people to go and fish, bring the fish and sell it out to those people?
The reason
on an
why
international price.
Yeah, the reason
it
why
doesn't have to be a Gambian price, because they need us. We don't need them. That's where my issue is.
Because the problem with our agreement with the EU is because our entire budget is sponsored by the European Union. So this government lacks the backbone to tell the European Union what they can or they cannot do. Like I mentioned a while ago, somebody who feeds you has control over you. They have total control over you. So we have to get out of this dependency. The Gambia should be able to provide for herself. We have resources in the country that can make us economically independent. Let's look at agriculture alone. We have over 500,000 hectares of arable land in the Gambia. And at the moment, we are only utilizing 200,000 hectares of land. So if we should put all that 500,000 hectares into proper production, we will be able to feed ourselves and even export to other countries. But from 1965, from independence to date, all the previous governments, they have failed in making sure that the Gambia is food self-sufficient. That is number one problem. Number two, when it comes to the fisheries sector itself that we're talking about, it has always been controlled by outsiders.
Absolutely.
Why are we allowing our local industries to be controlled by outsiders? We want Gambians to take charge of what belongs to us. This is in the Gambia. Because if a Gambian is doing business in that particular sector, he or she is benefiting Gambians first. Whatever money they gain from that particular enterprise stays within the country. But we have to understand that capital flight is a reality, and it is affecting most African countries. When you allow foreigners coming into your country to totally control our valuable sectors of economy, whatever money they gain usually is sent back to their individual countries. And this is exactly what the Chinese are doing. The Chinese are not interested in knowing anything about our culture. They are not interested in interacting with us All they are interested in exploiting our resources. And we have to understand our marine resources are not, they are finite. If we don't control it, there will come a time we will run out of this tuna that others are exploiting in our country. And by that time, it's going to be too late because we have no other alternative, or we don't have any other source of providing protein for our people, because our animal husbandry sector is virtually non-existent.
It's not, because if you go to the markets now to find fish, a good one, you can't anymore. Even the simplest fish that I think that was the cheapest, it's now expensive. We can't even, the market is just basically naked. So the government, I don't know what's wrong with the government, because what they're saying that they will do and when they sit is completely different. And we need to change this. We absolutely, because they are actually stripping Gambia naked, which we will not accept.
And I agree with you, because in my previous video, the one that I posted 2 days ago, I made mention about corruption. And then we have to be honest here. We have a problem in our country. Gambia is a very corrupt country. Corruption, wherever it is, there is likelihood for that country never to progress. Because what happens is you deny the public of what is rightfully theirs for your personal gains. That is corruption. Now, we have laws in our country. The problem is no one is implementing those laws. Let's say in the case of the Chinese, there are right now 2 fish factories in the Gambia.
Factories in the Gambia.
And I remember in 2017 and 2018, in the village of Gunjur, people protested because the fish factory, their day-to-day production was affecting the town, because there was smell coming from everywhere. The stench was just unbearable. People even at their homes can hardly breathe any clean air. So when the people take to the street, they complained. What did the government do? They did not listen to no one. They tried to shut down anyone who talks about what is going bad in our country. And we know that tourism, apart from agriculture, is one of our biggest foreign currency provider for the country. And tourists were complaining to say that, look, it is unbearable for us to use Sanyang and then Gunjur because of the smell coming from that factory. So my question is, what right does the Chinese company have in the Gambia to do their operations, but not only that, destroy our environment up to an extent that people cannot even breathe clean air? The government in the first place should come and tell them.
The right that they have, it's because the government is giving it to them. The toxic waste, they are actually leaving all over the place, especially in the sea. And when people try to make noise about it, you either get arrested or get punished for it on a different way. And I just see one of the comments, someone saying, get the Chinese out of there. Can you tell me how we're going to get the Chinese out of there? If it was that easy, we would have done it a long time ago. We would have actually done it a long time ago. This is something way beyond us, and we need help. Gambia truly need help, because this government, I don't know how they're actually thinking, because it's only about their pocket and their family. That's all they think about, and not the people that put them there. And this needs to change. I don't know how, but we will change it. We will definitely change it.
You know, there is a proverb in Mandinka. They said, when the head is affected, the entire body is affected. We have a leadership crisis in the Gambia. It is so unfortunate that in 2016, Gambians were only interested in taking out one person, and that was President Yahya Jammeh, the former president. But people weren't ready for institutional reforms that is needed, because when institutions are strong, there is nothing that the president can do single-handedly. For instance, in the United States of America here, Donald Trump goes on the rampage, say bullshit, whatever he wants to say. But the Senate, the Congress, is there, and then the judiciary is there to, check whatever the executive is doing. And under our current constitution, the 1997 constitution, the president has overwhelming powers. And this is what we are seeing. We lack leadership in the Gambia. It's unfortunate, but our president is not in touch with the realities of our country. If he is, then he is blatantly denying or just refusing to pay attention to what is happening. And that is one thing that we have. That is one power that we have. That is our vote. In 2021, people are going back to the polls again to vote in the presidential elections.
I lost confidence. Absolutely lost confidence.
Gambians have to make sure that they bargain for something they want. We have to take this government down because they are not representing the interests of the Gambians. I understand that most of us, we are not politically savvy. They just want to go with the flow.
Yeah.
But it is high time for us to, sensitize our people to know that who you choose to represent you in office, determines what your future is going to be for the next 5 years. So therefore, if we are going to entrust anyone to lead us in the Gambia, it has to be somebody who has the interest of the Gambians at heart, is somebody who is capable, is somebody who has the pedigree to lead us into greatness in the future.
That's true, but how are we gonna know that's the right person? Because all of them did the same. I was in support of our present president, but look at him today. The promises, everything he said, nothing is happening. Gambia is doing worse than before.
I think at the moment, what is very important is we need youth engagement. We need youths in the politics. We need them in the arena. We cannot, be backseaters. We have to come to the forefront, because the people who are representing us, most of them are in their late 50s, 60s. They don't exactly know what has happened. They are out of touch with today's reality. We, the youths, know exactly what is needed. We know what is going to take to move our country forward. So therefore, we need to sensitize our youths to take part in politics, because we know our problem. And if we should have youth representation in our parliament, in our executive, I believe we will bring about changes in the country. But if we allow the kind of politicians we have in the Gambia, we are going to be in the same problem for the coming 10 years, because they are not going to solve our issues. Look at what is happening in the Gambia. With all the bullshit that this government is doing, you hardly hear any opposition party, the opposing parties, saying anything. Basically, everyone is mute.
It's all about them. They don't care. It's all about me. If it's not me, that's it. They don't care.
It is their duty as the shadow government in waiting to correct the ills of the government of today. If you see something wrong, you have a following. Use the platforms and talk to the Gambians to tell them, look, what is happening is wrong. In Senegal, we see it happen, wherein if the government does something wrong, you see other political parties responding to say this is not right. But the only time you see our opposition parties talk is when election is at the corner, because now they want to get the attention of the masses to vote for them. That's the only time they will engage us. But when the election season is over, they are mute, they are quiet, they don't want to know our problems. We want a representative government. We want a government that will be proactive to the needs of the Gambians. We don't want a government that is retroactive. You only respond when people say something. We want a government that can focus in the next 20 years, what would be the needs of the Gambians, and then come up with policies to guide the Gambia into greatness, because we can do it. It's a small country. Our population is 2.3 million people. If you can imagine, in the 70s, China that we're seeing, the GDP of China was 97 US dollars. Fast forward to today, China is the second biggest economic power behind the United States of America. because they had good leadership, and also they model their development trajectory based on the realities of what is happening in their country.
In their country.
But
It's
for the
always
Gambia,
China first.
yes,
I've been there, I've seen it.
for the Gambia or for most of Africa, we only carbon copy from the West. We are not devising ways and methods which is applicable to the realities in our individual countries. And this is important.
The reason being is because we just want to beg. We just want to say, give me, let me put in my pocket. And not to sit down and say, let's build with what we have and develop our country with the little we have, so that people can appreciate what we have. People can come in and invest, but respect our laws, because the government don't even respect the laws that they put in place. So how would foreigners come in and respect the laws? So the government should be thinking Gambia first, but they're not thinking that way. And I think fans want to say something. Just bear with me. Let me just bring him on. Big fans. Big fans. Hello. He's on, but he's not saying anything. I'm just going to mute him again then. I think he's listening to me instead. So, yeah, so I don't know how we're going to do this, because another thing is that...
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, can you guys hear me? I'm saying something.
Yes, we
Hello?
can.
Can you guys hear me?
We can.
Hello? Ooh. Yes, I'm talking, but I don't know. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, Fams, we can hear you. If you check the chat box, I did say we can hear you.
Fams, if you can reduce the volume so
Okay,
that
thank
you
you,
can
man.
hear
And
us.
then sorry for the I think my network is kind of messing up here around because I'm driving. Okay, nice to hear that. So I just want to say thanks to you and Lama for the. Oh my goodness, I'm breaking up.
It's okay. You're not picking up. We can hear you properly.
Hello. I don't know.
Yes, we can hear you, Fams. Yeah.
Okay, so what I wanted to say. Yes, I did. Excuse me, man. Excuse me for this. I think my network is kind of messed up because I'm on the road. So I just wanted to say congrats, and then thanks for you too for taking time to come over and speak about matters that are happening in Gambia, and based on the economic sector, and then our livelihood. And just wanted to say, I think we Gambians, we have problems. We've been having problems ever since we took independence. Okay, so now my point when it comes to this Chinese issues, they sign contracts that we don't know about, and they never put it on the news for people to know what they signed and what they did not sign. Sometimes the government would say that they have loans from China, but we don't know what kind of loans are they. Oh my goodness.
Don't worry. We can hear you properly.
Taking time to come over and think about matters that are happening in Gambia, and based on the economic sector, and then our livelihood. And just wanted to say, I think we Gambians, we have problems. We've been having problems ever since we took independence. Okay. So now my point, when it comes to this Chinese issues, there's certain contracts that we don't know about, and they never put it on the news for people to know what they signed and what they did not sign. Sometimes the government would say that they have loans from China, but we don't know what kind of loans that is.
Farms?
Yeah. I think, Rene, we can continue.
Okay.
Yeah, you can
I'm just
mute.
going to mute him.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I just want to respond to what Farm said with regards to our government signing loans that we don't know about. We have a problem when it comes to disseminating information with this particular government. A government that cannot communicate properly with her citizens is bound to have problems with the citizens. And the reason being that right now we don't have what we call Freedom of Information Act. I know with this new constitution, the new draft constitution, we have such a thing wherein the citizens can walk into any public office and demand for information, sensitive information, unless and until they are classified. So our government is doing deals that we have no clue about. There is so many things that is taking place, in secret behind camera that we don't know about. We put you into power. We want you to represent our interests. Whatever you do, you should come back to us at the end of the day and tell the country what is it that you are doing on their behalf. That is what is representative democracy. That's what we want to see happen. But it is not taking place, rather unfortunately.
The only thing I'm going to say is that our government do not know their roles. Because if they did, they will know exactly what to do. I don't think they know what they actually put themselves in when they basically say they're going to be part of the government. They do not know. And the other thing is that we don't have youths that represent us in the government. Just like you mentioned, it's just older people. And I think the reason being it's because as a Gambian, to actually interact and get the links, the right links that you need in order to be part of that is hard, because everywhere that you go, they will try to block you.
You're right.
That's the issue that we have. And it shouldn't be like that. But if an outsider was to come to speak to one of these high people, within a day or two, that's it, they've got it.
I mean, because this is also a problem, I think, because we lack national pride. We don't believe in ourselves as Gambians. Today, wherever you see an American, because they are taught in their schools that America is the greatest country in the world, that perception, creating that perception for your citizens is very important. In the Gambia, we don't have that. In our school system, they are not teaching our children to have that national pride, to know that they are the best, that they matter, they value. So therefore, this transcends even when we are into office. If somebody comes from outside and you as a Gambian, you come, you want to do something, our people who are in power would rather deal with somebody from outside than dealing with you. And there are so many reasons for that. Like I said, one has to do with national pride. The other thing has to do with corruption and bribery, because they know if they want to they ask for bribes from you, Rene, you may not want to do it. But they know if they ask the foreigners money for those people to set up businesses in the Gambia, they don't mind. To give you a few hundreds of dollars is nothing, so long as they are going to have their business set up in our country. And this is what we need to get out of our system. And how do we get it out of our system? We have to digitalize our economy in such a way that we have to stop dealing with cash transactions. You come to a government department, you want to pay for a receipt for a particular thing. You are counting cash and giving it to somebody who is sitting by the counter. We should be able to transform our economy in such a way that everything is done digitally. That way, we can reduce the level of corruption we have at our government departments, at our public departments. I'm going to tell you this story. I was in the Gambia in 2018. I went to get my passport. You go to the bank, I think it's a Guaranteed Trust Bank, you pay for the money. Then the next day, I don't know, you come back, you get your passport. But there was this particular immigration officer who was forcing me, because literally he knows that I am from America. I come with few dollars. So he's telling me, look, you don't even have to wait on the line. I can help you get this passport today. I said, look, I'm not in a rush. I have 3 more weeks in the Gambia, so anytime it's ready, it's ready. But this person insisted. At the end of the day, he helped me. And in return, he was expecting something. And I told him, look, are you, because I did not ask for this help. Did you just help me, or did you help in anticipation to get something in return? And this is rampant anywhere you go within our government departments.
It's everywhere, even with the police. That's why they don't respect our police officers. You
Absolutely.
have to bribe them on the roads. It's all about bribery to get what you want. That's why people can insult us by saying, oh, you might give a police officer $200 or $1,000, and then you will basically sit there and start saying, oh, I've actually donated to the police force.
Bragging
what
online.
An insult.
Yeah, which is very disrespectful, because you know, if you should do that in your country where you come from, you're going to go to jail.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So don't come to our country and then want to capitalize on the weaknesses or the loopholes we have in our country. We are not stupid. We are saying exactly what is happening, because some of us, when they are on camera, they pretend that they are all holy and whatever, but behind the scenes, their true self shows up. We don't want those kind of people. We have to be honest here. But how can we solve this corruption issue in the Gambia? Is we have to pay our civil servants a livable wage. You cannot expect to pay somebody a meager salary that cannot even take them for 2 weeks. So there is a lot of things that we can do in our country. And this is the reason why I said this particular government has misplaced priorities, because this government is a transitional government. We have to remember, because we had a dark history for the past 22 years. We said this government comes in, we want you to come with reforms, to put in structures in place to make sure that these issues of corruption that we are talking about is gone. I know we cannot eradicate corruption 100%, but if we can bring it to a level that is acceptable, the Gambia is going to be respected. When you look at the global index, corruption index, the Gambia is in tier 3. It's one of the most corrupt countries in the world. Why that? It's because even when international investors come to our country, the first thing they realize is even the ministers, the permanent secretaries, the people high up there they're dealing with, they know that those people are expecting something from them. Hey, Rene, I want to seize this opportunity to tell Gambians that if you think you are going to go into public service to make money, you are making a mistake. Public service is not the right place for that. If you want to make quick riches, you have to go into the private sector. You come into the public sector, you want to help your country genuinely. In the public sector, what's more important is the legacy that you leave behind. Today, people can stand in America here, talk about Martin Luther King Jr. People can talk about Malcolm X. People can talk about Barack Obama. People can talk about Mandela. People are talking about Mahatma Gandhi. People are talking about other people. They were not looking for wealth in public office. What they did was to serve. You are a servant. Serve the people and leave a legacy, and people will respect you till the end of time. But this is what we are lacking in the Gambia. This government's priorities are misplaced. Now, the president is busy strengthening his political dividend to making sure that the next coming election in 2021, he wins the elections again. And I'm telling you, Gambian, what I have seen so far, I was so impressed in 2016 to see change in the Gambia. But
Same. I
right
think
now,
everyone was, because we thought things are going to change,
yeah,
but it's
right?
still the same thing. No national pride, no nothing. The
Yeah,
government, once they sit there, start eating their money, all they start thinking about is to send their kids abroad to study, instead of setting an example to say, hey, as a government, we're taking our children to our schools in the Gambia, but none of that is happening. Everyone just wants to send their kids abroad for them to study and come back. So where's the national pride?
yes.
It has to start from them. They need to set the example before we can see it and also start doing exactly the same. But that's
And
not happening.
and it's like people are not learning from history. They said people who don't learn from history are likely to repeat
Repeat
the mistakes
itself.
of the past. We knew that Yaya Jammeh had a compound here in Potomac, and currently there are ministers serving in this government who are buying homes in expensive neighborhoods in Dakar. Where are they getting that money from? That is the
Before you
question.
say that, that's even far in Dakar. Where did Barrow himself got the money to build what he built, his White House? Where did he get that money when Gambia
Absolutely.
has more serious issues? His wife as well. Where is she getting all that money she's wasting?
So these are some of the issues, but our Gambians are muted. The opposition parties are not talking. Nobody is taking action to make sure that what is happening stops, because it is our national treasure that people are flaunting left and right. What we want is change. We want development in our country. Look at this rainy season. It is raining heavily. And
Heavily.
then what the rain season has shown is the lack of infrastructure we have in the Gambia.
The
You have
roads,
stagnant, the roads are terrible. It's just horrible. We
the
need to
homes being
revamp,
destroyed.
yes, we need
It's
to revamp everything.
heartbreaking.
We have other priorities in our country that we should focus on rather than, trying to make ends meet for yourself by stealing from our coffers. This is not what we want. This is not the government that we voted for in 2016.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Big Fams, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, man, that was a very excellent conversation between you two, and then I'm really happy that you guys take out time to come over here and speak what is really happening in Gambia. My 2 cents that I want to contribute right now is like you and Lama mentioned about houses in Senegal. They're used to that. We have people, that are in power who don't care about the country, who don't care about Gambia. One thing I came to understand is you can be born in Gambia, but you wouldn't even pay allegiance to Gambia. You're going to pay allegiance to yourself and your pocket. That's what some of the people are. That's the only way they know how to enrich themselves. Because they believe that once you become, once you work in the government or hold a public office, you have to be rich by hook or by crook. So people believe that, and they try to normalize corruption and the nepotism and stealing. And, they normalize everything just to suit their egos. Because they believe anytime you're in power, as soon as possible, take advantage of it. Whatever project you can lay your hands on, keep 70 or 80% to your pocket and build yourself a future home or like a family house anywhere in the world that you can build it. And we've seen it in Gambia. What Lama said is true. Gambia is now like the third most corrupt country in the world. What a sad statement is that? And it's happening. People are saying it. We've received so many donations from the EU and then UN, but we don't even know where these monies are. We don't know, how much they transfer to our covers and what the balance is. We don't know. Because these people that are there right now, they're just struggling to get as much money as they can get, because they understand that this president we have in office is an accidental president. He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know his left from right. And his people are trying to manipulate with him. They try to play smart. And one thing, in as much as I hate Yahya Jammeh, in as much as I don't like his policies, he would, he don't take this kind of crap for nobody.
Absolutely.
He wouldn't entertain that. But Gambians know when somebody's slow. They know how to play you. They know how to take advantage of you, and they will do it to the ladder. They don't care whatever happens. If it is not about them and their family circle, like, to hell with the rest. And we have this kind of problem in Gambia. And one thing I believe that I fail, you use force, man. That's my mantra. If they fail to understand, we got to come up with any other solution. We have to take the laws on our hand. We don't have to even ask for any permission to go for demonstration and strike, because that's the language they're gonna hear real quick.
Yeah, just
let's get out. If we see Chinese, breaking the law like it's happening in Gunju, and they demonstrate first time, they take them to jail, they're gonna warn them, don't do it again. If you relax, then the Chinese are still gonna do what they gotta do. But if the Chinese are breaking the law, you don't even have to talk to no policeman. Get out there and take care of business. That's the only thing I believe. If we don't stand up for our country, we're gonna be in deep hole, man. We're gonna be in deep shit. Excuse my language. I don't see any other solution. I don't see any other way out of talking sense into these people. They do not care.
This is why the TRRC must go on, so that people get to know the truth of what exactly the dirty things behind the scenes, what governments are actually doing. Like, seriously, I've learned a lot from the TRRC, and what Fan said, we need to demonstrate. I'm definitely on for that, because if the government is not going to listen to us, well, I guess we have to do it the street way, so that they will definitely listen to us. Because at the end of the day, they're not going to arrest all of us or punish all of us. So something will be done.
Yeah, Rene, can I just quickly come in?
Sure.
Yeah, what I want to say is we are not advocating for any violence in the Gambia, just to put that out there. What we are saying is we want the government to represent our interests. And it is the right of the citizens, wherein the government fails to represent them, to take to the streets. We can peacefully protest. We have to understand that democracy and development will never be handed to the citizens on a silver platter. We have to hold our government responsible. If we talk to them, they don't want to listen to us. Let's take to the streets peacefully. If it means, days or weeks, let's have a sit down. Look, the government can have all the weapons that they have, but the people are the most powerful. What happened in Mali recently? The entire summer, Malians were protesting. What happened? The president has to leave. We have seen what happened during the Arab Spring in 2011. Mubarak was out, and other places. What we are saying to our leaders is that, talk to us, let us know what is happening. Before you make deals on our behalf, consult the government, the people. We have representatives in the parliament. Talk to them. Sometimes it's even important, if you want to embark on something major, don't only just stop at the parliamentarians. Go to the national TV, use the radio stations, organize a caravan, go around the country and sound people's opinions. And then, tell them exactly this is what we want. And you listen to what their response will be. But if you sit at your comfort within the State House or in your offices and think that everything is shiny and fine, that is not the case. The average Gambian today is suffering because this COVID-19 has brought a lot of suffering to our people. Our local economy is virtually stagnant. Nothing is taking place. Look at even the curfew. Our market women are suffering because I believe that the way the government is handling everything, even with regards to this COVID-19, is wrong.
It is, absolutely. Where's all that money with them saying that they're giving people 1 bag of rice, something like that? Is that going to keep them going on for the whole 5 months or for the whole year, or 2 bags of rice? What? It's basically just an insult. Absolutely.
It is.
What 1 bag of rice is going to do, and then you saying to the people, stay home, keep yourself safe. Where's all the money that's been given to us?
Yeah.
To help the locals in this hard time? Where is it? It's in their pockets.
And they must answer to us, if you're sitting down there, you think you're going to get cost free, we are
coming for them.
Yeah, you are just playing with something that you don't know. We will make sure you're responsible. And one thing, What had happened in the past will never happen in the Gambia. You are never going to quiet us. It will never happen.
Absolutely.
Because for me, I will speak and I will come to the Gambia whenever I want to come to the Gambia. One thing I know, I'm not going to disrespect anybody. I'm not here to insult. I was brought up right, but I am going to speak truth to power in a respectful way. And anybody who listens to me will understand that, what I'm saying is right. Because if all of us should, fold our hands and then keep quiet, what is happening in Gambia is not sustainable. At some point, we will be categorized as a failed state because the economic policies we have. Just yesterday, I was listening to Mamadou Sabali on Fatu TV. The central bank has declared that our economy is going to contract negative 1 point something percent, which is not good, because when that happens, that means the national cake that we all have just a small chunk. The bigger the GDP, the bigger citizens will, gain. So we have to come up with sound policies to make sure that we revitalize our economy. What is it that we can do in this COVID-19 that will keep our economy moving forward? First, I think this market closure, they should allow the market women to go to the market from 6 a.m. to maybe 8 p.m. What the government needs to do, let's have a mandatory mask system wherein everybody puts on the mask, you allow people to go. People are not stupid. They know that if they follow the rules, they are preserving their own health and that of their families. And all we need is, we are civilized people, just sensitize our people. They will do that. But you are telling the market women, don't go to the market. This is some of them. They have to go to the market and sell before they can buy food for their household. Now, but you are allowing.
I'm still here. Sorry, for some reason my cam just went off.
Yeah, but you are allowing drivers to carry passengers to full capacity on long journeys. That is comfortable to you as a government, but it's not comfortable for our women to go to the market. And we know that Gambian women are the most hardworking people I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
Because these women will go to the market, struggle in order to bring bread home to provide for their families. And if this is the situation with this COVID-19, they are the hardest hit section of our society. Why can't we empower our women who are in the markets doing business every day to keep their families alive?
Yes.
But the government is not doing that. They're busy, following policies that doesn't make sense, following policies that doesn't change the livelihoods of Gambians on the ground.
Absolutely.
There is so much we can do better.
Okay, I think it's just you showing up now because for some reason my camera is just playing up. I'm not sure what's going on because I had a call and then it just crashed. But it's fine anyways, I'm still in.
Hello, Rene.
Yes, big fans.
Okay. Yes, I just want to add a little bit to what to what you and Lama just lamented right now.
Okay.
So and my focus this time is on the Chinese. Chinese, we have to understand, and I bet most of us understand how the Chinese are. They don't care about your well-being. They don't care about the well and safetyness of your people. They do not give a crap about it. But in any contract you see, in this world, when it comes to business contracts, there are things we call express terms. And express terms are those that are specifically mentioned and agreed by both parties. You know what I mean? And if the Gambians, I don't know whether our ministers, whether they normally read the whole contract or not, but if you take the time and read the contract and see what is being inputted in there by the Chinese, you'll be able to know where they stand. But if they don't, then which means they might be signing something that we don't know. So if anybody breaks the law, anybody breaks the law on what you guys agree on, you have the right to terminate the contract. And based on my own perspective, what I would suggest is, like, if the government can have a body, like, I don't know if the NIA can do that, or like a task force, we can just check on how the Chinese are operating, look at the ways, and then they the steps that they cross, they can be able to counter the Chinese and terminate any contract that the Chinese
But
are
they
doing.
can't.
Now we
The thing you're failing to realize is that if the government was to do that, then they will be losing out, because it's all about bribery. Because they want more from the Chinese. That's why they're allowing the Chinese to do what they're doing in the country.
And I bet that's the reason why we having the vessels up to this area, up to the Dungeon Bridge, because they're not supposed to be there. You know, young guy lamented on that on his straight talk on Facebook. You know, he complained about it, and he tried to talk to that guy, whatever his name is, the Minister of Fisheries, and the guy he just tried to play a defense mechanism there. He tried to play smart with the people, acting like he didn't know nothing about it. And James Gomez too, you know, he trying to act like he did that. He said that he dined with he has like a dinner with these people, with the Chinese, but he didn't sign any agreement, which I don't believe. I don't trust them. Whatever comes out of their mouth, I don't trust it. Trust me.
They're there to defend themselves.
Whatever it is. They know what they did. They know what they did behind closed doors, and those are the ones we're gonna hold responsible if anything happens in Gambia. Now, 5 to 10 years, we got to hold them responsible. And I hope and pray that after this government, we have a very competent TRT, you know, so that they will be able to tackle these people and never allow this kind of activities to repeat again in the Gambia. Because Gambia is, you know, it's one of the smallest countries in the world, and it's easy to develop. We can't have this kind of wrong people in positions. They're not supposed to be there. If you know that you are not there for the interest of the Gambia, please leave. Go hustle somewhere else. You know, try to open a business and run and make money. Gambia is not for you if you don't love Gambia.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Farms, I think you're absolutely right with what you said, and this is why I emphasize knowledge is very important. Because right now our president, I don't think he can fully read and understand simple contracts. Because the thing is, our new constitution, because I don't know, I think the requirement for a president when it comes to education is, I think, a high school diploma or whatever. We need to change that. People should have their bachelor's degree in any field before they can go into politics. Because today's politics is important in the sense that you are dealing with other global heads of states. And when you get to that platform, it is about knowledge and smartness. And that is lacking right now, what we have in the Gambia. Because Gambia used to be very respected internationally, but today we are nothing. And that comes to the kind of leadership we have in our country, because the perception as a leader, the perception that you give out there is very, very important. That persona is important. And Yahya Jammeh, with all what he did, he had that. Yahya Jammeh was respected in Africa as a statesman. And he was a no-nonsense person, because when it comes to the interest of the Gambia, he is ready to defend the interest of the Gambia with his life.
Absolutely. That's the only thing I miss about Yahya Jammeh.
Now
you can't come in the country to abuse the people or exploit the people.
Now the question is, what is taking place in the Gambia? What is our president doing? I just want to switch here a little bit. Let's even look at, the presence of ECOMIC in the Gambia. Our nearest neighbor, Senegal. Senegal has a strategic interest in whatever happens in our politics in the Gambia. And today, from the very beginning, Senegal has been running the operations of the ECOMIC peacekeeping force in the Gambia. We have wonderful men and women in our security sector. Why are we still allowing?
One thing I would like to add on to that, you see, during Yahya Jammeh time, Senegal didn't even have the audacity or the guts to say anything to Gambia. They might try to caricature him on their various committees, but we don't care. Yahya Jammeh didn't care about that. You got to come, if you come to Gambia, you got to respect Gambian. You got to respect us as a sovereign nation, or else you got to deal with it. And that's the thing I gave him, man. I gave it to him 100%. He won't play with that. But I also kind of blame Gambians, because I think in 2016, when we were fed up of Jammeh, when we wanted him to leave, we were talking, even a dog is better than him. We wanted him out, but we didn't plan what's gonna come after. That's why we end up with this sleepy guy here we call a president. This guy has proved everybody right that he's really an accidental president. He doesn't know what's going on in this country. And I really hate to see that we have a comic, especially Senegalese soldiers, going in and out of Gambia like what? This never happened in Gambian history.
Yeah, because
it never happened. Maybe it happened in 1981 when the coup happened with Kukos Ambassador. But trust me, in the past 25 years, Senegalese don't even come to Gambia like they don't even have the guts to step into Gambian territory like that. We are just an independent country.
Yeah,
and then one thing I love about Gambia, before Barrow, it's like we have people who really wanted to defend our country, and then we stood strong when the EU, when they wanted to take advantage of us, when they wanted to tell us what to do, like France is doing to Senegal, because everybody knows that France controls Senegal, and Senegal don't have a say until France approve it. We know that.
Absolutely.
Gambia, despite our small size, we won't take that kind of crap for nobody. And I just hope and pray that people like us, youths like us, will be able to stand up in solidarity and see Gambia first. Let's just cut the crap of partisan politics, tribal politics, and focus on our own interests. I bet if we do that in 20 years, Gambia is going to be heaven in Africa.
Absolutely. It is a small country.
It's just like untapped country, and we can be able to turn that. We'll be able to stop people. We will be able to stop some crazy people that's going to come to Gambia and talk crap about us because they don't have any idea. They don't know what's going on. But if you have the likes of Barrow and his incompetent administration, you're going to have crazy people coming to Gambia and talking crap who have no history of anything.
Absolutely.
It's a shame, man. It's a shame that we're witnessing this kind of mediocrity government. In our time, I just hope and pray that 2021 comes, we have the likes of Halifa Saleh, the likes of Dr. Cisse. I would suggest any one of those guys, if they step in, man, I'll be able to sleep, and I'll be able to contribute my quota to help my Gambia, because Gambia is all I got.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't trade Gambia for any other country in this world. I would never do that.
Yeah,
we're gonna fight the fight. So
yeah.
we basically have to stand now and do it, because no one is going to do it for us. I believe that all those people coming in, well, most of them, especially, well, with the Chinese, there's nothing like most of the Chinese or all of the Chinese coming into the country. They're there to exploit us. That's why they're there to destroy. They are destroying us. And whatever they're doing, they're not employing Gambians. Even if they're employing Gambians, they're not doing what's right. They're not following the laws, because they know that they're bribing our government so that they'll be able to do whatever they can, and the government will just keep quiet about it. So
Rene,
we have to change this.
Yeah, we just have to be careful in the Gambia. Look at Zambia. The Chinese have such a stronghold in Zambia that they have their own banks. When you're on the highways, you see the billboards, and almost everything is written in Chinese. We don't want a situation like that.
No, definitely.
Because we have to understand that in today's world, in globalization, people will travel, people will go and invest anywhere they want to. The most important thing is when we have policies, good laws that protect the interests of the Gambians in the first place in the country, then there is no problem. Anybody from anywhere, you can come to Gambia and then invest, do what you want to do, because the laws are there to protect the interests of the Gambians. But if the laws are there and then it's not being implemented, people can come in and do what they feel like doing, then we are having a problem there. We are running into a problem, because what is going to happen in the future is, if things go sour, that these very people who came into our country will just fly back to their countries and then leave us to deal with the mess. So this is the thing. We have to make sure we have good laws and policies in place to protect our country from being exploited by anyone. I don't care your color, where you come from. It doesn't matter.
Absolutely. Oh God. Sorry, I think I just messed something up. Okay, I'm back on. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, so I just saw a comment. Someone saying that we need to unite with the Senegalese. Sorry for cutting you there. We are already united with the Senegalese, so this has nothing to do with us uniting with the Senegalese. This is Gambian government taking their people, seeing their people as priority before anyone else. Because the Senegalese, they stand for their people first, their country first, before any other. Gambia is inside Senegal. So this has nothing to do with Senegal. I just want to make that clear.
Let me just come in, just to make people understand. The Gambia and Senegal, these are one people. We are one people. But when it comes to politics, the way these two countries are run is completely different. And we have to understand, just some months ago, when I think there was a problem at the border, our Gambia Transport Union has a problem. The Senegalese were saying they were not allowing Gambian vehicles to take passengers into Senegal, into Dakar. And we have seen that, repeatedly in the past years, because the Senegalese will never allow somebody, outsiders, to control any of their sectors. I know Senegalese.
Absolutely not.
And then they have every right to do that. They have every right to do that because Senegal belongs to Senegalese. What we are saying in the Gambia is let the local industries in our country belong to Gambians first. Go into Serekunda market, I'm telling you, all those sub owners you see, most of them are not Gambians. If you want to buy something in the markets, most likely you're going to deal with Senegalese. But go to Dakar and see. You will hardly see a Gambian. There are Gambians selling in the market, but you hardly find a Gambian, sub-owner, because Senegal is trying to protect their interests. And that is normal. That's okay for anybody. So I don't want people to misconstrue our information here. We are not anti any other national. What we are saying is we want the Gambians to own what belongs to them. Because what we want at the end of the day is employment for Gambians, because that is how our livelihood is going to improve. But what would happen if we allow our basic sectors to be controlled by outsiders? That means, we are just lame duck. We are not doing anything. We're just sitting there waiting to be, spoon-fed.
Yeah.
And no responsible country or no responsible government or no responsible citizens of a country should allow that. And this is the fact.
I absolutely agree. Big Farms, are you there? Big Farms?
Yes, Rene. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm always on and off,
It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it. So, do you have anything
So, from now on, what I would like to suggest is for us in the diaspora, to come up with plans and then, work together with the youth that are at home on how we're going to, sensitize people, enlighten them about, we promote nationalism, promote Gambia, promote our image, our country first. I believe if we ever get successful on that, then the youth will be able to understand, or they'll be able to see a bigger picture of what it means to be a Gambian. They'll be able to put their country first. They'll be able to, stand for their country before their last name or before their politics, because most of the people in Gambia are doomed. They don't know. They think this is my last name, and then I belong to APRC because I am Jola. I belong to NRP because I am Fuller. I belong to UDP because I am Mandinka, and UDP is for Mandinka. APRC is for Jola. These are the hard facts in Gambia. And then the only thing that we can go about it is to be able to have workshops, progressive workshops, and talk to the youth. For the older people, they already, it's going to be hard to tackle them because they already, they grow up in that kind of sentiment ever since they were young. That's what they see. But we can be able to bring change. I think 60% of the population in Gambia are all under 30. If it is 60 or 65, I don't know. So this is the right time to prepare the youth. For the next 10 to 20 years, this country is going to be, this one is going to stand strong. in the face of the world. I believe it. I'm confident about it. You know, and then I'm ready for it. I'm ready to do anything for Gambia. I don't have much, but whatever it takes, I will do it. Okay, guys.
Thank you for
Thank
that.
you very much for that. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, perfect. Yes, I can. So the other thing you actually mentioned was about the land issues in the Gambia. You did touch on that a bit.
Absolutely. I did talk about land issues in the Gambia. We have to, this is a very sensitive topic, and I don't want to be misunderstood.
Okay.
We have seen in the present past, especially even with this new government, there has been a lot of land issues in the Gambia, sometimes between the Gambians and even the government of the Gambia. We saw what happened in Sukuta, we saw what happened in other places. So my concern is, what I'm saying is, we want a sound land policies. We need laws to regulate how land is distributed in the Gambia, because our population is growing and the demand for land ownership is getting high. But the land grabbing that is taking place right now is not sustainable. And in order to make the availability of land accessible to all Gambians, and which is a right, which is a fundamental right, you know, for every Gambian to have a place that you can call a home or a shelter.
Absolutely.
So how do we do that? The only way that we can do that is by the government coming up with sound policies. Why would I, as a Gambian, sit here in America, own 30 plots of land in the Gambia, when I know very well I cannot develop all those lands, or I cannot live in all those places? We should be able to differentiate between residential ownership of land and commercial ownership of land. Now, today, as we speak, land is the most valuable commodity in the Gambia. Land is like, if you own land, it's like you own diamond. And
Yes.
the average Gambian in the Gambia cannot afford to buy land because land is so expensive. The very few who can buy land in the Gambia are the few who are at the top. Our ministers, you know, people who own businesses or so. But our civil servants, how can you work for a government for 20, 30 years? At the end of the day, you retire, you still cannot have a home. So this is my concern. And we are allowing what is taking place to take place. And I want to make one thing very clear. And I am not saying no one should own land, especially the people coming from outside. What we are saying is, if you are to own land, we have to be careful how Gambians are allocating these lands. If you want for residential purposes, there has to be a clear demarcation between residential purposes. If you are going to do it for business, do it for business. It has to be known clearly. But we are seeing people acquiring lands for purposes only known to them. Because if I am right, they are saying that, you know, you cannot own land more than 50 by 50 square meters if you're not a Gambian.
Yes,
But
that's what they're saying, but it's not happening, is it?
yes, it's not happening. Because there are people in our lands department who are doing this crooked business because they are only interested in their pockets. We want people to come to Gambia. This is what we want. We want people to come to Gambia, invest, buy a home, and stay with our people. But in order to do that, we have to have policies which clearly spells out what you can do and what you cannot do. Because there are some people who are taking advantage of the system because they know that it is easy to corrupt, it's easy to bribe our people, and they're doing it.
I don't think our people actually know the value of lands. I think that's where the issue is.
And we have to sensitize our landowners to tell them, look, there are ways you can manage your land. If somebody wants a residential land for residential purposes, you can sell it to them because that means they want to live there. But for business, when it comes to business purposes, Go into agreement. What we want is people coming to the Gambia. If you want to go into agriculture, partner with our local people. The government should make this a policy. You come with your resources. If you have the capital, the money, you are coming to Gambia. You don't own any land. The government can introduce you to somebody who owns land. You have a partnership, an agreement written down. You both have your lawyers, have an agreement wherein, you provide the land.
Just bear with me. Just bear with me on that, because you did mention that before buying a land, you need to partner up with the locals and everything. We've already got a law in the Gambia that foreigners can only buy certain amount of land, but that is not happening. The law is not being followed, and the people that set this law don't even care whether those foreigners are following that rule, because they are the one that these foreigners get to bribe, and then whatever plot of land that they want, they get it. And people know what's going on in the country. We're crying about it because Gambia is very small. The citizens in the Gambia, not all of them own a land. And that should be very easy. Just like you say, one person shouldn't be owning, let's say, 30 lands in the Gambia. No, just one land per head, it's enough. And if you have 10 kids, each one have one, that's it.
And I want to emphasize, this applies to even Gambians, because what we have to understand is if we want to develop, we have to move together as a community. We don't want that capitalist mindset in our country wherein you have the very 1% or the 5% on top owning virtually everything in our country, because land is the most important asset. If you own land, you have power, you have wealth, because the price of land always will appreciate. It never depreciates. So we have
understand that.
We have to put in the mindset of our Gambian brothers and sisters to tell them, look, somebody coming to you, buying a plot of land or this huge land, giving you $10,000, $20,000, you think that is money. Your land is way worth more than that $20,000. Go into agreements if for agricultural purposes. Sign an agreement wherein the land will continuously belong to you. You can even pass it on to your future generations. And make sure the person who is coming, you have an agreement. It could be a 50-50 business, or it could be 45-55, whatever agreement that you have. But make sure that land you don't lose it. Because in the United States of America, even when you buy your own land, all you own is the structure. But the land itself, you don't own it. So our people has to be aware. They have to be aware. They have to be smart about this. I inherited land from my parents as a family, but we agreed we will never sell it to anybody. We will not, because I am not thinking about myself today. I'm thinking about, my future or my great-grandchildren who will come after me. If I sell this piece of land to somebody, it doesn't matter whether the person is a Gambian or a non-Gambian. What is it that my kids are going to inherit from?
Halat TV, are you still there?
Hello, Rene.
Yes, I'm still here, but I think he's got some issues with his network.
Can you hear me?
I can. Yeah, he's got network issue.
Okay, so like Lama just said, I think Gambians have to be. We need to have some strict land regulations. We don't have that in Gambia. That's why you have people jumping from left and right, claiming to become real estate as soon as they get to Gambia. And when you look at the likes of Tanzania, I think in Tanzania you can't own land until you are a citizen in Tanzania. You might buy it, but I think they have a procedure of going about. Or you can just go to Tanzania and all of a sudden wanna become like a landowner and selling land to other people, trying to make people of the profit. That's not done. We don't have enough land in Gambia. Gambia is not big as Senegal or Ghana or Nigeria. Gambia is just a small country. Gambia can fit 10 to 12 times into Senegal.
Can you see me now?
Gambians have to, we have to preserve what we own. The only thing we have as an asset, as a big thing in Gambia, is just land, and we don't have enough of it. Now, this comes down to having mediocre people running office. This is it. Because when you have these people who don't think about the future, who are very selfish about themselves, who think anything is just about them, they don't care about Gambian future. They don't care about people's great grandkids. As long as them and their kids have whatever they want to have, which is driving beautiful cars, $1 million cars, they don't care about the rest. And I bet you see most of these people coming, especially the diaspora, most of them coming to Gambia, they are beginning to see the light. They are beginning to see what we've been complaining about. Because you do have fellow Gambians that will go with them, and they're going to be like behind the scenes and let those Gambians lead the way. We're seeing it on YouTube. And they're going to buy a vast area of land, and they're going to make the money out of it. Because they're selling 2 to 3 times the profit. They sell it to other diasporas. And you know, I'm not against them buying land. I'm not against it. But one thing I'm against is, you know, I'm taking people for granted. You know, Gambians are nice, and then people are coming taking advantage of it. And I think somebody got to put their foot down. That hey, we got to put a stop to this, man. You can't just come over here and then try to exploit people. It's not done. I don't believe that should happen. I think we need some strong people in office. People like us, the young people, will be able to take care of this country. I believe it.
Everyone can see.
You know, but no matter how much you talk, if Minister of Land and then whatever social it is, if they don't care about it, they won't care. You know, they're not going to do nothing about it. Because if people come and give you $10,000 as a bribe, you're going to take it. Yeah. And you're going to give them people's future, which is not good.
You're absolutely.
You know, and like Lama said, when people come to you to buy land, don't just, tell them. Because I end up struggling to have land when it's going to be very expensive in the future. We don't have enough land in Gambia for people to be grabbing like that. I'll look at it on YouTube and then my heart bleeds. It pisses me off that people think, okay, welcome to Gambia. Yes, welcome to Gambia, but chill. You know, you can't just come and then just start to hustle on people like that.
Yeah, farms.
But it all comes down to our
farms.
To our ministries who don't care about it, who are not even seeing the bigger picture.
Yeah,
because most of them are just old school. They don't know what's going
Rene,
on.
can you hear me?
You know, they don't look at things the way
Okay,
you're looking
I
at
want to respond to this. Is it Weeks and Wine?
Yes.
Yes, there is somebody who commented, say African diaspora should not be considered a foreigner. We came from the Gambia too. I want to make it very clear to everyone here. We are not against our brothers and our sisters coming to the Gambia. I made videos encouraging people to come and invest in the Gambia. I made videos telling our brothers and our sisters to come to the Gambia. But we have to also, know exactly what are the situations in the Gambia. You coming home, I made it clear here. You can buy your home, buy a land for you to stay. Have a home. You want to buy 50 by 50, which is a good size of land. You can build your house, have your garden behind. But what we're saying is the kind of land grabbing, what is taking place, is not right because it is denying other people. I live in the United States of America here. We have a problem with this economy, with the capitalist system. That is, the only 1% is owning 90% of the wealth in this country. You see people here owning hundreds of homes just for business purposes. What we are saying is we have civil servants in the Gambia who spend their entire life working for the country. We want those people, when they retire, they should be able to afford to buy land. During Jawara's government, this is why we have estates like Kanifing Estates, Kotu Layout, and so. That government came up with a housing plan wherein they will give housing to our civil servants, civil servants to own a home, a mortgage system. When Yaya Jammeh also came, they started the same process. But at some point, the whole entire process was hijacked. Money was involved. Now, our civil servants are left behind. If you are a Gambian out there who is in the diaspora, you have money, and you're thinking that you should buy all the lands in the Gambia, I'm telling you, you are selfish. Because what we want affordable homes for every Gambian. You coming from the diaspora, you want to come and stay. You can stay in the Gambia, buy your land. That's not a problem. But the land grabbing, that is my problem, the land grabbing. And I want people to exactly understand what I'm saying here. It is the land grabbing which is my problem. And now land is almost impossible for Gambians to buy. Means you buying a plot of land for a million plus, 400,000 Gambian dollars. How many Gambians are even making $100,000 annually with their salary? You can count them. And somebody cannot be born in his or her country. At the end of the day, you spend your entire life serving that country. You retire, you cannot even have a place you call home. Come on, let's be truthful here. That is what I am talking about. We have no issue with the diasporans. We want them to come back home. We know exactly what is happening to our black folks. I live in the States. When I walk out of my house, I have to watch my back because nothing is written on my forehead to say, hey, you are an African, you were not born in America. Once I go out there, who they see is, this is a black person. And I always have to watch my back. And I understand, I know that our people need a safe place to call home. They need a place where they can feel safe, where they can feel loved. And this Africa can provide for you. But
DJ.
I made it clear, Africa is not for grabs. One of my one of the most popular videos that I did. It's not for grabs. And then this has nothing to do with Africans in the diaspora. This is everybody, Africans, Indians, Arabs, Chinese. If you come in with that colonizer's mentality, we are going to put you in your right place.
Absolutely.
I will do my best as a person to talk about it. What the government does, that's the government's business. But we will make sure we make our government responsible. We want Africa to be for Africans. And then that includes everybody, regardless of whether you were born in the West or not. But the idea that you are entitled, we have to also be very mindful about that.
DJ, I hope that answers your question because
Yes.
I was going to say that.
You are not entitled because the reality is you are coming back to where your roots are from. And when you're coming, please come with an open mind to know that I'm going back to my brothers and my sisters. We should work together to make Africa a great place to be. And we know, we Africans, we know that we need the people in the diaspora. And we have to understand our interests are connected. I keep telling people, if Africa is not free, Africa is not independent 100%, no black person anywhere else in the world will have their freedom. Because the example is, if your father is not free, what do you expect would happen to you, the kids? So Africa is the roots. If we can solve Africa's issues, the issues of black people anywhere would be respected. Today, if something happens to an American citizen anywhere in the world, it doesn't matter whether you're black American, you're Chinese, or you're white American, the American government stands for you. And they make sure whatever is going on over there is taken care of. But today, if something happens on African anywhere, we all saw with this COVID-19, when the Africans were kicked out in China, in hotels, they were roaming on the street, they were treating them like they are not human beings. What was it that our African governments do? They did not do anything because they lack the power. They lack the economic power. So therefore, they cannot do anything. Because at the end of the day, these very African governments will run to China to get aid to implement policies in their countries. So therefore, our African brothers on the continent and sisters and the diasporans, we have a mutual interest here. Let's not engage ourselves in divisive means. We have to unite. We have to come together and know that our interests are aligned. Because what our enemies are doing is they don't want to see us united. And this is how they will divide us. But I've seen, even when I made my videos, others people, people are always commenting about the Chinese. Oh, you don't like? No, I am not against
anybody. Don't
anybody.
understand the message that we.
But you have to understand where we're coming from, because I think this conversation is very important that we clarify things on this platform here. you are welcome home. And especially in Gambia, you are welcome in Gambia. But we have to abide by the rules and regulations. And this idea of entitlement, leave it behind, because when I was coming to the United States of America, I never came here as somebody who is entitled. I can also claim and say, look, my forefathers built America because they were taken from Africa. Like you Africans Americans, or some of you will say, our ancestors are from Africa. We could also say the same thing. So if an African moves from Africa, come to the United States of America, they feel that they are entitled. They are making a mistake. What we should do,
let's keep that for next week Saturday. Let's keep that for next week Saturday. So if they want more of that, they should definitely be part of this live stream next week Saturday, because we're going to have another one regarding coming back home to take what belongs to them and the automatic citizenship. So we will definitely get into that conversation. That is a completely different topic, which is a huge thing that we need to basically talk about. We need to get onto this understanding level, because a lot of people are getting confused or do not understand the word automatic, because it can mean a lot. So that's something that we will definitely touch on next week. I think Big Fans is actually on the line. Big Fans, or hello? Okay, I think they're gone. But I've definitely added someone in. And in regards to the hello? And in regards to the land, oh, there you go, Binta.
Hi, Binta, how are you?
Oh, she's gone. In regards, while she's setting herself up, in regards to the land grabbing that you were talking about, people just focus on selling lands, and the fact that they don't know what implication this may cause in the longer term. This is something that we need to also educate the locals to tell them what they're doing can affect not them, but the younger generation. And it's basically selling out the country to others, which everyone can buy land. That's absolutely fine. But we need to come to an understanding that you can't just buy a land when you just land in the country. There should be rules set up. You're not a citizen in the country and you're already having your own estate or your own huge plot of land, selling it to others. That's something that we need to look into, because those lands being sold out to others are not actually Gambian citizens, because the price that is actually set.
Rene, just to give you an example, when I first came to the United States of America, this is how you understand that the government protects the interest of their people first, which is the number one thing. When I came here through a student visa. The first thing that they told me was, you're not allowed to work unless I change my status.
Exactly.
But I wasn't mad. I understand those are the laws. So if I want to stay in the United States of America, I have to follow the laws. And when the right time came for me to work, I legalized my immigration issues. And then that gave me the chance to work legally in this country. So if you want certain things, play by the book. Let's just do things. We don't want to misplace things here. Whatever you think your experiences, if you go to Africa, we also coming here, we have similar issues, because this is governance issues. It's easy for you to go online and then talk about anything that you want to talk about. But here we're talking about substance, and we're talking about facts. We're talking about the law, because Gambia is a sovereign state and the country is governed by laws. So when you go to the Gambia, you have to make sure you respect the laws of that country. Don't try to flout the country, or don't use the loopholes in the country because we have a few citizens in that particular country who are corrupt. Because at the end of the day, it's not even in your own security to do things which are against the laws of that particular land, because it could come back to haunt you. So we have to be smart here
as well. Before we say that, we need to talk to the government first, because the government is the one giving them that priority, or should I say, the confidence to do that. Because you would see someone that has a big land. This can be a Chinese, a white person, whoever. And the law has been set that only foreigners can have 50 by 50. and you would see physical planning approving someone's property, that person actually has more than 50, maybe 400 by 400 for their own personal use. And they will not say anything because of what? They've bribed them with $5,000 or $6,000 for them to have that whole land. So in order for these people to respect the law, we have to respect the law first. What's been written has been written, and we can't go by what we want to. This is another thing that we need to think about. Before we speak to the outsiders, we need to speak to our people first.
No, I agree with you. We have
this
a problem.
This is why no one is respecting us.
Yes, we have a problem in the country. I mean, when we have people in authority, it is important to know and have love for self first. And here, when I say self, I mean your country. The interest of your country should come first. It is time for us to start prosecuting our own people. People who are in authority, I hope they are listening to this. And anyone who knows somebody who is in power, especially our lands department, Ministry of Lands and Local Government, if you know of anybody who is found wanting in this, please, let's come online. Let's reveal the dirty things that they're doing, because you have no right to flout the laws of the Gambia just for your personal interest. Who are you? And this is endemic in the Gambia. Land issues, not even talking about outsiders. You will see a Gambian land dealer will sell one plot of land to 3 different Gambians, and they get scot-free with that. When I was working with the lawyers, when I was working at Antuman Gay's office, I see land issues always problem. We are in court, people are fighting over land.
The land is basically between the landowner and the alcalos. So the alcalos are given this responsibility that they shouldn't have. It should be directly with the government. They need to set a rule or a law to basically say this is what should happen. Every single person buying a land, before the alcalo actually approves, we need to approve to make sure that it's an individual that you're selling this land to and not multiple people.
Rene, just right now, as we're speaking, I have a problem in my town. I think early this year, somebody came, we don't know who it is. They buy over 4 kilometers of land, almost virtually the reserve land that we have in my place was entirely sold to somebody. And there are a few people involved, about 5 people from my village. And we went to the chief of Combo East. He wasn't able to do anything. He said, this issue is beyond me. We went to the local government in Brikama. They are trying to dilly-dally us. And somebody is telling us there is somebody high up in the government who is involved in that. And now we are trying to get the help of a lawyer to fight for that. What right does anybody has to go to my village, take that land? You connive with our alcalo with few people, you buy this reserve land that we have for the village. Right now, basically, we're losing everything. If that project goes ahead, we don't have any reserve land anymore. So these are some of the issues that we are having in the Gambia. Our Gambians are the biggest, they're the first problem. And if we don't change attitudes, this country is not going to move forward. We are going to, remain in chaos. We will be underdeveloped. We will be divided because there are some people who are sellouts. They lack the backbone. They lack the integrity to lead us. And we have to talk about this issue of corruption. It's everywhere. Our alcalos are involved. Our CFOs are involved. Our local governments are involved. Our real estate agents are involved. Everybody is
absolutely.
It is like the diamond of today in the Gambia. And this is why I'm saying the land grabbing has to stop. Because everybody wants to make wealth out of selling land in the Gambia. It has to stop.
We're forgetting to build clinics, parks, a lot of other things that we need to build, but none of that have actually been considered. All people want to think about real estate dealers buying a whole lot of plots and then selling it out. At the end of the day, I think Gambia is going to end up being just houses. We would have no proper hospitals, nothing like that, because it's just houses. Everyone wants to build a house.
Yeah, and that is true, because this housing problem came about when these real estate agents got into the market and then start making huge profits out of it.
That's right about it. Can I?
Yeah, come in, Farms, yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, what I wanted to say about the reserve land is, I think physical planning or departments of land, whatever their role is, in every responsible society or responsible country you go, they do have reserve lands that are just for recreational activities, like parks, anywhere you go. Like for instance, Gambia, we're supposed to have, when we say Bruce, that's supposed to be like a big reserve land that is just for recreational activity. Let's say soccer, basketball, like a park for people to go hang in. But the way I'm seeing things are going in Gambia is they're selling all the land. And I'm scared it's going to be hard in the near future for even people to have a soccer field to play sports or even basketball, because everything is going. They don't consider about it. They don't see the future. Everything they see is now. And we have to change things. They have to understand that Gambia is going to be, I think the population of Gambia is going to be 26, I just checked on Google the last time.
No,
People.
our population is
But
growing at the rate of 5%
coming
or
to Gambia,
more.
it's going to be how many million? Probably 6 to 7 million people. Gambia is going to be very tight to move around. To move about. And people got to understand that. They don't even have any reserve land for people. If they have it, I haven't seen or I haven't had nothing from them. But we need those kind of stuff for entertainment, for sports, so people can go out and have fun.
We need it. We absolutely need it. We need help.
Otherwise, we are going to end up like Britain. You see how tight Angleterre is, and then some European countries. The fact that I got situation and you won't even know what to do.
Nick, you
not
know,
drive out of Gambia to go from Banjul to Busiri or to Combo. That's how tough, because that's how overpopulated. Roads are messed up. The government is not doing anything about it. I heard about this OIC. I don't know how they're going about it, because there's a budget for Ganyu different roads. We need roads. We need roads in Gambia. We need reserve land in Gambia for parks and recreational activities. I just hope that they're considering that. But if we, this is what happens when you don't have a visionary leader. This is what happens. He doesn't see the vision. It's just about him, just going to the market and buying corn and cooking and grilling in the state house, thinking that being president is all.
Okay, I think he's gone.
Just
I'll let you speak, and then after that we'll just call it end for today, so people can join in next week, and then we can continue this discussion.
Just to buttress on this OIC summit itself, because I think the government is planning to build about 50 kilometers of roads within the Serekunda area.
I've seen that.
But when you look at that Senegambia, road itself, from the airport junction going all the way to Sting Corner, that place on the Jawara's regime was reserved, wherein we can have, is it the soldier road, what you call it? You have 4 lanes going, 4 lanes coming back. But we have scrupulous people within the lands department who were, selling land to people, encroaching on the road. Now, the government is saying it's going to be a dual carriage, wherein they have a section for the pedestrians to walk through. And we are not thinking about the future, because once you have a dual carriage there, it's just going to take about 10 years. We will have traffic issues also in that place. So we have to make these things clear. People who flaunted the rules that reserved motor carriageway for the future, they should destroy all those buildings. The people who have permits, legal permits, they can compensate them, because we are talking about the major dual roadway in the Gambia, because we don't have any other space.
About the future,
they're not.
They just plan the present, not the future.
This is actually a problem in the Gambia. Our physical planning is not looking into the future. We want to have roads that can serve us for the next 50 years or so. But traffic congestion within Serekunda region is a problem. It is a problem, and the government is not coming with any plans to alleviate that issue. So this is insane. Hopefully with this OIC summit, immediately after the summit, we will see some changes, some improvements when it comes to the infrastructure. But the infrastructure is dilapidated. There is a lot of problems in the Gambia when it comes to roads, electricity, water, that is another area for
The
discussion.
main thing I think the government needs to look into is electricity, water, and roads. These three things are major in Gambia.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Sometimes the whole night, no electricity, or the whole day, or for the completely whole day till the next day. Water, the same thing.
That's true.
We have a lot to do in the Gambia.
Absolutely.
So
But I am so glad that you've started this conversation.
But please come with the mindset of we are working together. I'm coming to join hands and work together. Not to say that I'm coming to create jobs when you're actually coming there to help yourself and no one else. We don't want that. We are one, and we should show that, not by talking, but with action.
Yeah, and I also think we in Africa, or we in the Gambia, we don't need a savior. And I think people should start speaking truth to each other. If you are moving to Africa, especially our African brothers and our sisters from the diaspora, you see within your own community some of few people trying to bring in divisive means, talking nonsense about the Gambia or so. It should be your duty to tell them, hey, I think what you're doing is wrong. But jumping on the bandwagon to try to separate us or to even belittle Gambians, that is not going to help your cause in the Gambia. Because somebody cannot come to the Gambia telling us that we are slow, we are stupid, we are not smart, we are dumb, they should grab everything. I was really, really perplexed when I saw that particular video, and I had to react. And if you are somebody who has such a mentality, I'm telling you, Gambia is the wrong place for you to be, because we're going to check you. And this doesn't just apply to our brothers and our sisters, it's for everybody. Be you Chinese,
Even
white,
Gambians themselves.
even Gambians themselves. Yeah,
because Rene Marcus is here for Gambians.
Yeah,
so if you're a Gambian, acting as if you're better than your fellow Gambians, mate, just watch out, because Rene Marcus will definitely come after you.
Yeah, because this is why we're talking about the ills of the Gambia. We are going to come after our government officials who lack the backbone to protect our country, and other civil society sector, or people who just ordinary Gambians. If you cannot speak the truth, if you cannot defend the Gambia, just shut your mouth. But if you come with disrespect, we are going to react. We are going to put you in your right place. And I'm very happy that you started this conversation, Rene Marcus. It is a good thing that you started, and I'm telling you and encouraging you, never stop, because there will be people who will try to
You can call Rene Marcus any names you like. You can do mockeries of Rene Marcus, but don't touch my country,
because
they don't have me. Right in the face.
You are a strong woman, you are a smart woman, you are an intelligent woman. You have a tough skin, so let them not try you. I don't care who the person is, because you have love for your country, and that is exactly what you're showing. And I hope some of us as content makers on YouTube will follow exactly what you're doing. We try to support each other. If people come to show negative image, because perception is very important. The reason why people think Africa is a shady continent, is a shithole continent, is because of what the media is showing. So it is our responsibility to show the other side of Africa. And this is why I love people like Wodemaya. I love Miss Trudy, the African Tigress, love it. And I think Pray, the African sister who is in Ghana doing an excellent job. And any other content creator out there who is showing positive images about Africa, because this is what we need. We don't need somebody who comes to, paint the continent in a negative way just to get cheap popularity and to get followers. We don't need you. You are a sellout. You should be ashamed of yourself, whoever you are, and you know who you are.
Thank you very much, brother, for that. Thank you so much. Guys, don't forget to subscribe on my brother's channel. He's such an amazing person. And if you want to see him next Saturday, please start liking and start commenting. Yes, we want him, so that we can have him again on Saturday. Thank you so much, Halat TV. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rene. Thank you. Bye-bye.
No problem. Goodbye, everyone. See you on